Stafford Moor day one, so not too sure today, so some expander crush in case we've got to catch Carasio on a feeder or a very long pole. Got casters for short and for ground bait and salt. Pinkies, maggots, micros, conventional ground bait, more ground bait in there as well. We've done a few expanders as well. Peg, good peg apparently, peg 8. Woodies, absolutely no idea.
So thanks for joining me, everybody. Stafford Moor Silvers Festival day one. So silvers, carp doesn't count. We're just kicking off, and as you can see I'm flicking a few casters on a top kit and a short 4 line with a nice 1 gram float that just gets in there really quick just in case it's rigid. 14.5 meters we fed 3 balls of ground bait, just one hand squeeze sized, and then at 13 meters it's off to the left at an angle, sort of 10 o'clock, we fed 1 ball, sort of negative line, and then we've put a few micros in at 13 meters at a diagonal but to the right, and then lastly I've put in a small ball of just neat expander with maggots at 16 meters for the Carasio. I've been told they like maggots and expander. Now they're a new species for me really. I have caught them in the past at places like Todborough. Down at White Post I've had them up to nearly £4. Great lovely big things they are, and a real bonus. But I say a bonus because that's what they are, because generally down there we're sort of fishing for carp in that. Here actually targeting Carasio is something very new to me, and I'm quite excited about it, to be honest. I quite like that, quite like something new to learn, isn't it? So we started on the feeder, it's neat expander, maggot on the hook. I've started with a single maggot just to see if I can catch anything out there, and we got a small skimmer. I look round to me right, and Ricky, nice lad, I know Ricky, know quite a few of the lads down here. Ricky's already gone out on the long pole and caught 1 or 2 Carasio as well as 1 or 2 skimmers, so he started really well. But I've been told this is a good peg for Carasio, so I am having a search for him first of all on that tip. We looked on that for about 25 minutes and got rolled off by 2 carp, no Carasios, so it's out on the pole. The short line as well, it's not solid, surprise surprise, so yeah, we're going to fish it properly now. 30 meter line, 4mm expander, and we manage our first little skimmer, well apart from that little one on the feeder, and it's not a skimmer at all, is it? It's come back like it's a skimmer, and it's another carp, and I'm sensing that we could be on a few carp here today, so this could be difficult. The trouble is in silver festivals, and they don't count, is you've got to hook them. If they come over your feed they'll sit over it, you've got to hook them to get them out of it. So and it's really surprising what you land on balanced tackle, isn't it? 0.8 hook length, 20 hook, number 4 elastic. You'd think that would break you straight away, wouldn't you? So just over 30 minutes in, and not the most auspicious of starts, is it really? We've hooked now at 3 carp, 2 on the feeder, 1 on the pole. We've gone back over the micro line, straight in after, no feeding, and sure enough we've hooked the skimmer up. And that's what it's like, as I say, if you've got carp in your peg you've got to hook them. You hook one, hopefully you spook the rest that are sat there if there is any. If not, sometimes you've got to go in, you've got to hook a couple of them. Sometimes they'll break you, of course, on such light lines, but believe it or not, those carp's muscles in their mouths are so strong, they just open and close them, and they pop those little barbless hooks out within an hour. I know fishery owners who sort of worried about that sort of thing in the past. Oh, breaking on the carp, but the truth is, how many carp have you caught with teeny tiny little hooks and tiny lines attached to them? Don't happen. So on with the fishing. We've managed to catch one there at 30 metres on that expander. So I've just topped it up with just sort of just a cad pot, next to nothing. Then we just had a look over those balls of ground bait and nothing. So a bit early yet. I'm not going to go over that ground bait till an hour in. So back over the pellet, another little skimmer. They are small though, and I've seen Ricky's had a few Carasio, and one of my roommates have come down with John opposite me. He's catching what I think is skimmers, but what I haven't realised, and I come to realise at the end of the match, is he's actually catching Carasio and his peg's solid with him. But we won't go there yet. But I'm thinking he's catching skimmers, and I know how he catches them. He catches them on pellets. So I'm sticking with this pellet, thinking that he's catching skimmers with it. So that was a bit of a tester line really at 13. So what we've ended up doing now is going 14.5, feeding a lot less micro to avoid the carp.
Oh, the Classio. Oh, that mate. I can't make. Moan that one. I was just waiting to moan that one on me. I got like a pain grip and I can't make bites unless it's a carp. No, mate, I think I've got a little skimmer on it now. I don't know it yet. It'll take me. It'll take me this week to sort it.
All of a sudden this is pulling a little bit hard for a skimmer. I'm hoping it's not a tiny carp, but I haven't seen it yet. It's a Carasio. And I can see why people target him. It didn't look very big, but it's quite a thick, dumpy little fish. I'd say it's sort of a pound and a half. So quite a handy sized fish. I have heard they go up to about £3 down there. This one feels like a skimmer. We did have a look, by the way, over that 16-metre line. As soon as I had that Carasio at 14 and a half, 13 over the ground bait, I did go out to the 16 and a half to look over that expander. I spent 5 minutes over it and nothing, to be honest. So I'm not going to top it up. I'm not going to bother with it. We're nigh on an hour in now, and as I say, Ricky's ahead of me on the right. John opposite, who's in my section's ahead of me, and there's a chap a couple of pegs past Ricky. Can't think of his name offhand, but nice guy, nice older guy. He fishes for Dorking, or used to fish for Dorking, I think. Good angler, but he's catching well as well. So it's head down now for skimmers. We've wasted enough time, and I don't feel I know enough about those Carasio to sort of do anything else really. I've had a look for them. It hasn't happened. And yet another carp.
I'd 7, I think, now, mate. Can't feed nothing, Rick. Look at it. What a prick.
Still persevering with those pellets, which is in hindsight a bit of a mistake, but we'll get there soon enough. Still catching the odd little fish, but far too many carp. that 13 metre line we had with one ball ground bait, we actually ended up putting another one in, but as you've probably seen, about 14 and a half, sort of past that. We're putting a much smaller nugget because that 13 metre line was just getting smashed up by carp, as is my main line, as you can see at the moment. So we had a decent little run of skimmers there, um, but we still hooked the odd carp in between. I sort of edited that out, but it doesn't seem as bad. I don't want to say it too loudly, but at the moment it doesn't seem too bad. Really basic fishing as well, single maggot over ground bait. Being very careful with what and when I'm topping up though. Um, we're 3.5 hours in now, and the first 2.5 hours have been pretty torrid for us, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, we're fishing. I still love it. Could do with hooking less carp. It's just a little bit frustrating, isn't it? But still, it's brilliant fishing and lovely place. I have to admit, I put my box down on this platform at Stafford Moor, and I didn't have to adjust one leg. It just sat there, and it's spirit level, flat, just absolutely perfect. And you can see the shingle there, a nice big peg, anti-slip on top of the wood as well. Look where the box is, all paved, lovely. Toilets between the lakes are absolutely amazing. Yeah, something else down here. Very, very well kept. Hats off to them. So we just got our head down at the moment, trying to catch what we can. I mean, we have to remember that's all you can do. And this is the first day of 5 days of fishing. So it's no good losing your head, is it, about hooking a few carp? And that's a nice skimmer. That's probably the best one I've had all day, that. It's £1.5. So it's slowed up. So what we've done now is a little trick I've done in the past many times. And what we did is when we fed that ground bait originally, we put quite a bit of castor in it. The castor, as you probably a lot of you already know, is a great holding bait because when skimmers and any fish come in to feed over it, they they tend to crunch up the castor, sort of suck the juice out of it if you like, and then spit the husk out. So it keeps them in the peg longer. It doesn't tuck them up, so they don't get full on it, and it just keeps them grubbing around and having to work that bait in their mouth to feed um, for longer. And what I've done is fish maggot over that, and you do that for just until it slows, and then you just put that caster on the hook again, like well later on in the match, and all of a sudden it can transform your peg with a run of fish because that caster has been almost like a safe bait, if you like, for quite some time for them. Then all of a sudden you go and stick it on the hook, and voila! It's surprising how quick that can turn your peg round. From a motionless float on maggot, you put caster on, all of a sudden it's going out there, settling 30 seconds, it's gone under. I wouldn't go as far as saying we're bagging or anything, but we're catching a few fish. It's nice. They're about average about 8 ounces to about a pound, I'd say, is the mainstay. We've had a couple of around the pound and a quarter, and that one just a little bit earlier, didn't we? About a pound and a half. Had a few smaller ones as well, but sort of average, I'd say, sort of, I don't know, 12, 14 ounces. That's just lovely fishing, isn't it? Lovely conditions as well. Really pretty down here. Another thing I noticed with Stafford, you just don't hear a car. You just don't hear. There's no roads, is there? You're down in the lanes anyway. It's just so quiet, so peaceful. I can definitely put up with a week of this. Peg slowed down now, so I had to refeed the 14.5 metre line, then go just on that little negative ball on the left there. Just looking for the odd bite whilst we're letting that ball settle on the main line. Ricky on me right twitching a little bit when I had a nice run of those skimmers for a while. I think he was getting a bit worried, but I don't think he's got too much to worry about. He's had quite a few of those Carassios. Chap in the corner on my left as well. He's been catching skimmers, but he's been plagued by carp, same as me. He's probably hooked around the same as I have. And I'd say I've hooked double figures of them now. That little negative line's giving us an odd bite, isn't it? Not very big fish, but it's still weight, isn't it? Somewhere to go when we top up. Let that main line settle for 10 minutes.
Just laying that one on, mate. I had a perch this last first one I've had for half hour. Them perch sit in there, Rick, and just suck it, don't they?
As I say, switching to that caster as well. Just adding those few extra fish. Castor is one of those baits sometimes, if it's a little bit, it's not the sort of prime summertime or anything, then really it's one of those baits that can come in a bit later in the match. You don't necessarily want to start on it. It's almost like a little plan B, isn't it? Just another little string to add to your bow. Lots of little things to help you just add fish. Stay tuned, everybody. Only day one. The carp did back away a little bit towards the end, but we hooked 15 on the pole, 2 on the tip, so that's 17 carp altogether we hooked, which has cost us a little bit of time, but others were in the same boat as well. Some people didn't hook many at all. I think John opposite me only hooked about 2 or 3, I think he said. But 4 days ago,
no fishes on. Ricky. Not as much as you, mate. I don't really know. High teens. Yeah. What have you got then?